Lots of lenses coming into the market right now. All lenses, Pure Joy or something. Some
Yeah,
weird
the weirdest
lens name.
names. The weirdest
Strangest
names. Are we
names
in?
ever. We are. We're official.
Have we started? All right. Well, welcome. Apologies for just this rambling half conversation that you've just stumbled upon.
We'll
You are in
continue
the
that
right
for the
place.
next hour.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Normally we introduce welcome. You get a drink before we just have the verbal diarrhea for the full hour. But anyway, welcome one and all. Great to have you along as always. How are you both?
Doing well, I think.
Good. Yeah.
I mean, life and things. I will say, in the bottom left of Ecamm, it says preview mode, which I've never seen. They keep updating this thing, but now Phil's come in and says, "Hey guys," and 360 Grad is here, so people are here. It's okay. We're okay. Doing okay, and I don't know what to say other than that.
All right.
Except for I need a drink, maybe.
All right. Well, let's dispense with the pleasantries and get on with that bit.
Well,
then,
I will
and
give
then
you a
we can
pleasantry.
maybe-
Your audio sounds very good today from the garage.
Well, yeah. So the story there is my dad's visiting from the UK, which is cool because so I've been over there 3 times already this year. So I've seen my family quite a bit, but my kids haven't seen my dad or my mum for 2 years. So that's been really nice to have him here this week. So that's cool. So he's camping out in the room that I normally use for this. So I'm in the garage with the motorbikes tonight.
Yeah.
Which actually seems to be working better, bizarrely.
It does. It seems
Crazy.
to be working great, except for that you showed up about 30 seconds before the show started. But, nothing like... You're in the garage. You're probably working with like a couple of 1/4-inch nut holes and a couple of... What are they called? Portuguese tarts? I don't even remember what the tarts thing
Oh,
is.
that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
No tarts this morning, Colin says. We also have Phil, Andre, Pat, Sam. Good to see y'all. Welcome.
360 Grad
dudes in
says
the
his dad came to smuggle some gas, because there's a petrol
That's it.
shortage in the UK. So,
Yeah, nothing to do with Brexit, obviously.
no.
Yeah, so that's what's going on in the UK right now is that there's people. So what happened was a few days ago, for those of you not in the UK, there's been a big problem with not enough truck drivers. So there's people short of all sorts. There's kind of food. There's not that people are starving, they're not running out of food, but there's lots of stuff that's not getting where it needs to be. That's now come to fuel deliveries to gas stations, fuel stations, and of course the media started reporting it on whatever day it was. Said one company had to maybe close 2 of their gas stations, and then the entire country went out and filled up everything they had, and now creating chaos.
Good grief.
So that's where we are. So yeah,
Kinda
he's
what
come over
happened
with a load
here.
of jerry cans, and
Your version of toilet paper shortage.
we had that too, or they had that too. Yeah.
Andres,
Crazy. So that's
the preview mode is apparently an Ecamm feature where you can modify your scenes before you send them live, like in the Switcher. Yeah, they keep updating this app, and one of the things that the twin brothers did is they kind of screwed up the color today with this new update, because Caleb and I were spending the 10 minutes, 15 minutes leading up to the show looking at the images and saying, what is going on? So it's a little odd.
Although I just had a thought.
Yes, sir.
You guys probably want to move on to drinky time. I'm gonna look.
No.
I'm gonna do something while you're getting into that.
Okay, that sounds good. And are we
All
another
right.
3 weeks or 4 weeks, Caleb, until we're having a drink with you again?
2 left.
Wait,
We're in
including
the second
today?
to last week. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, so
As
3
of
weeks.
tomorrow,
So not
there's
next week and the week after.
1 or 2 weeks. Correct.
exciting.
I believe that's where we're at.
It's
Very
exciting.
close, I know, right?
You better pick something good for that show. It'll be
Oh
exciting.
man.
Okay.
Nice. All right. So well,
All
let's
right.
for those of us that are drinking, let's get on with that.
Okay.
What are you on this week, Jam?
I'm having some Dalmore Portwood, which is a nice present for my big birthday from one of 2 of my friends, and I'm gonna have a little nip of that in a because I forgot to bring my whiskey glasses out here in a stupid mason jar. But there you go. But I always have those. What about you, Ben? What are you having?
So I today rediscovered macro. Which, do you have that in the States, macro? It's kind of
I've not heard of it.
It's like a huge, like a cash and carry. So you need to have a business to be able to go in there. So you get an account and then you can go in. But it's huge. So it sells all kinds of amazing food that you just don't see in normal places. Massive
What's it
range
called?
of stuff, including
Macro.
Macro. It's all over Europe. Yeah.
Okay.
And one of the things that I discovered was that they have an amazing selection of whiskey, and it's cheaper than it is in the UK, which is as well as all kinds of incredible other food. We bought lamb, which you can't get here, and I made a curry with my dad today, which was wonderful. Anyway,
that sounds so good.
That was good.
I love curry. Oh, come on.
And
Lambuna, baby.
lamb is
Lambuna. Come on. That's what I made last time. I love it.
That is what we made.
Don't
Lambuna.
talk about it anymore.
I love lambuna. Because lambuna, you cook the curry down, and then it gets really dry. You just keep stirring and stirring and stirring, and it just becomes more and more and more intense. And then you have some raita and naan bread and some basmati rice and lots of lagers. Like when we go to Lotus of Siam and we drink that much beer, that's how much beer I drink when I'm eating Indian food too. That's just gotta be. Okay, good.
It was good, but in the shop I found this, which I bought was given many years ago. We've talked about this before, which is come on. There we go
on the angle. Okay, there we go.
Gold cock.
Going from Cockburns, the Coburn's port that I was on the other week, to the Gold Cock whiskey. This is one of, I don't know, 2 or 3 Czech single malts, and this one's actually remarkably good. And I've just realised that I haven't brought any water into the garage with me to drink it because it's 50% alcohol.
That's okay.
So
let's go. And
it's going to
there's
need
definitely
that.
a theme here with the names of your drinks, though, for sure. There's definitely a theme. So cheers to you and
fried
and the Gold Co.
Gold Co. Right.
Cheers.
Slancha.
All right, kids. Anybody we haven't said hi to? David's having a Jack Daniel's rye and sparkling water. Very nice.
I didn't know they had a rye.
Neither did I.
Films by JP.
Yep.
That's about it. Everyone else is settled in.
So we had Cine Gear this week, and or we didn't. I mean, depending on how you look at it. It was at the Los Angeles Convention Center. Relatively large booths spread far apart from the stuff that I saw online, and not a lot of announcements at the show in particular. Though I would say the Friday of the show, that the biggest announcement was the 1200D from Aperture. So they have a Bowens mount based 1200, really draws over 1400 in order to give a consistent, it's not even a 1200 watt output. You can't say that with an LED because obviously it's even more efficient than an HMI, but it's drawing more than the 1200. So you have to figure you need at least a 15 amp circuit to run that thing.
I was going to say, are you with your
right on the edge.
Weird little kids' electricity? You're not. Does it work on a domestic supply?
Children's. Well, we do have 20 amp circuits here, and quite a lot of them. There's not a circuit in this barn that's not a 20 amp circuit, but yeah.
To answer your question, you need 2 power supplies to get the full output there. Then
yeah.
Okay. It was a serious question wrapped up in a little dig, but no, it was.
Yeah.
I know we've had this before, and we've been talking about things because generally domestic circuits here are 13 amp.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, so that was one. I know. What are they normally in the US? A domestic circuit?
We have 10, 15, and 20s. Is that right?
Okay.
Most of the time.
Yep.
Caleb, do you know? Most 10, 15, 20. And most of the ones that I have are 15 and 15 is standard.
Old houses are 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you there, Ben?
But you're also 220 instead of 110. That's your water
exactly.
boils
So
a lot. Your water boils a lot faster than ours does. I'll tell you that, and that's for real.
Yeah, because we have kettles as well as the power supply. We're 220, 50 hertz, and generally 13 amp fuses. 13 amp circuits.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So Cine Gear, and then lots and lots of lenses, which we were sort of saying at the beginning before we came up.
Lots of Chinese lenses. Yeah.
Lots of Chinese lenses.
So what's the really weird named company that I hadn't seen before? I'd just seen it on New Shooter when I was having a little scan before.
Killjoy. Greatjoy.
That's an
Killjoy. Joy Division. I don't know. They're making some crazy stuff. So what is that? 60 millimeter, if I remember correctly, 1.33x anamorphic. Is that right? That was on. I saw a New Shooter. Why?
Sorry, what was that?
Are you reading?
I didn't even get past the name.
Yes, not on our stream, but I'm on New Shooter reading about the Greatjoy 60 millimeter T2.9, and I scrolled down and hit the comment section, and there's a guy who dropped a comment that is pretty funny. It's very 360 grad. Might be 360 grad. I don't know. You guys can check that out at some point. What are we talking about? The Greatjoy one or the Sue-Ray?
Probably what's the Greatjoy lens? Isn't that a 60
the
mil?
Greatjoy is a 60 mil T 2.9. It's a really strange setup. So it's a 1.33 lens.
Yeah.
With a 1.35 anamorphic adapter. And I guess the idea is you put them together and you get 1.8 times. So you can go 16 by 9, fake anamorphic with a 1.33. Where you take 16 by 9 and stretch it a little bit, or you can add the adapter, and then with a proper anamorphic mode on the camera, you can get close to 2x, 1.8.
That sounds weird.
Yeah, it looks interesting. But they're showing footage, and it definitely looks more ovally in that 1.8 mode. So
yeah, because when you look
I think these guys may have reached out to me. I may have to follow up on that and see
who
at any rate, we've got some competition in the low end now, because Sue-Ray was really the only one messing around with that, and now Greatjoy,
and they've got this weird Greatjoy. So it's interesting because the Sue-Ray ones are 1.33, which work great for 16 by 9 aspect ratio, but they do not give you the same oval shapes, and they don't give you the same flare that you're going to get out of what we would think of as a standard anamorphic, which would be a 2x. And there he goes, even in the garage. See you later, kid. There he is, Heather Locklear. We'll be back. I don't know what is happening there. I think it's probably all part of it's all part of the government thing, and what is it? They're contact tracing you now in a whole other way. Now they're like
Europe's internet is supplied or fueled by fuel, since they have a shortage
by lorry drivers.
Yeah,
just imagine a field of generators powering the internet over there.
This portwood is delightful with a little bit of water. It's a little kicking without it, but I just put a little water in it, and it's very nice. Delightful.
I'm missing water in this. It needs it desperately.
Yeah,
it's way too much.
Dude, go grab some.
How you are. Yeah, go get some.
It's all right. Next time it flakes out, then I'll go get it.
Okay, that's
well. Now that you said that, it won't happen. So
no, it'll happen. Don't worry.
To wrap up this Chinese anamorphic stuff, what's interesting is the Greatjoy is a 2.T29, which is the same as the new Sue-Ray 50 mil. But the Sue-Ray is 1.33. This can go up to 1.8 times, and I believe, where's the price? I think it's either cheaper for that combo.
For the combo.
So they sell the lens on its own for $750 for the Greatjoy.
Yeah.
The adapter is $490 or $450. So both together is about the same price as the new Sue-Ray.
Interesting.
So pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Matt Allard isn't sure about it. He's like, call me skeptical. Anyway, that's the whole lens thing.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, look, we're getting to the point now, in that, well, we'll just say $500 to $1,500 US price point. There's going to be some really interesting stuff. I think the thing we have to look out for, huh? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you used to have to spend that much, or like you used to have to spend $2,000 for a terrible anamorphic adapter, just
Right.
horrid.
Yeah.
Those SLR Magic things, which I'm still trying to sell some of this stuff. So if you guys want one, we're on a discount.
They're great.
After that endorsement.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now they're super cheap. It's amazing.
The question is how good are they going to be copy to copy? You know, because when you have a company like Arri or Zeiss or Leica, who just came out with new lenses, full frames, you know that copy to copy, those things are solid. But I wonder if there's going to be any quality control issues with these lenses. I mean, the manufacturing process, lenses are not easy to make. It's not the fact that they're even making lenses and selling them, and you're getting good optics out of a TT Artisan, $99 metal housing 50 millimeter, lens. It's pretty remarkable what kind of image you can get out of a lens for $100 nowadays. But the question is the consistency there? And I don't know, but because it's so hard to make lenses, maybe it is, as long as they have a good QC process, maybe the lenses are, I mean, have you heard of good and bad copies of Sirui lenses, or have they all basically, from what we know, been pretty consistent?
There's some complete duds, like that 50 millimeter is really bad. Do not buy the 50 mil.
Right.
It's blue, straight up blue. It's like 1,000 Kelvin off. Like compared to the rest of the line.
Right.
The gems are the pun. The gems are the 35 and 80 or 75. Really nice.
Yeah.
How bizarre.
Yeah, give them time. Give them time. Like there's so many. I think they're nailing the mechanics pretty quickly. Right? That's the easy part, right? A metal body, or an easier part than the optics. So give them 10 years and forget about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be ridiculous. All these companies, there's already competition amongst them. Like there's several Chinese companies making these lenses. So I think it'll just be like Aperture,
Yeah.
It'll just get out of control.
And there will be a company that comes out. I mean, how funny would it be if it was a spin-off of Aperture, like Deity? There can be a company that can come into the market from China that, if they can have a TED, they can, put the R&D in, and they can get
some hipsters in California.
Build some community, get them over to the Oregon coast, for some videos, and they could do it for sure.
I'm not saying Ted's a hipster, but when I think of like cinema lens,
no,
people,
yeah.
I think of like kids in Los Angeles with slick hair, a hat that's popped up, and like arrows tattooed on their arms and stuff.
Right. Right. But you just need to hire those
like
people
Los
or
Angeles
get them to do
filmmaker
it. Influence
thing.
Yes. Put some good kicks, some Vans or something. Hey, listen. I don't know what I was going to say. It doesn't matter. It was kind of important, but really not important at all.
Like, hey,
I know, I was right. I did. I had a thought about something, but I really did forget about it. So it's okay. I was reading an article on AI, and it scared the crap out of me. And so here we are talking about 10 years from now, an amazing Chinese company making lenses. And I think 10 years from now, AI is going to probably just destroy humanity. So other than that, I think we'll be okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking just
and AI or Androids.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Just on a little tangent on that note, I've seen bits and pieces of people now reviewing the cinema mode on the iPhones that we were talking about. Was that last week or the week before? The cinematic mode.
Yeah.
And it looks weird. Have you seen any stuff that's been posted? It looks like green. It looks like green screen. It just looks really unnaturally odd. Still impressive the way it's all working, but it's got a very distinctive oddness to it.
Version 3. Next year's going to get a lot better, and they'll probably, they'll bow to the 24 frames per second gods and maybe give us UHD 4K. But then the following year, 2023, everybody's going to... It's just not even going to be a thing. They're going to start putting that thing into tablets and everything. I mean, a lot of people would probably like that once it's evolved in something like the iPad mini. It's really small. It's got a nice screen. If they could put those multiple cameras into iPads, which at a certain point I think they kind of should. I know it's what is the big thing on phones nowadays, but I think that would be a good move. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Colin was watching Terminator Genesis before this. Yeah. Well, there you go. Future Tech says, I think humanity will probably destroy humanity before AI does. You might be right at this point. I mean, we're doing a pretty good job of it at the moment. Okay. All right, let's get into some other stuff. What else do we want to talk about? Let's get into the chat a little and see what people... Oh, here we go.
If you guys have questions, hit us up.
Yeah, Phil says Apple is probably using depth from defocus crap from Panasonic. They need 60p to get focus. Yeah. That's funny.
It's all a matter of time. The fact that it can record at 30 frames per second and fake a blurred out background and give you anything, I think is pretty impressive.
I do have a question on that for both of you and the chat, because I was looking for it yesterday. Is there a clean out through the camera app on the iPhone 13 Pro where you can get cinematic mode to be used for something like this? Can you actually, I know it's going to be at 30 at 1080, but can you use cinematic mode live with a clean feed over, out of the, I guess it's a lightning port, but, through an HDMI adapter?
No idea. I didn't think there was any video out on iOS devices.
Well, you can. Oh yeah, no, you for sure. If I take a little lightning adapter and I go to here and it has HDMI out, I can get clean feeds from my phone, and I can even plug it into the ATEM Mini and use it as a a device. And Filmic Pro has clean out now. So what you can do is you can go into Filmic Pro and you can have a clean feed from your phone that's 16 by 9 if you're in landscape, and it can be done. So the question is, either through the camera app or maybe through something like Filmic Pro in the future, if they can tap into cinematic mode, then you could use your phone essentially for, in place of a mirrorless camera, in theory. Which is where I think things like the iPad mini come into play, which that's where it becomes a little more interesting, because you don't always buy that. You're not buying that device to be your phone. So you could lock it down and use it for something like that. And it would be relatively inexpensive, $500. And then you could use it for other stuff when you're not using it for Zoom and all this. I don't know.
I want to know why Apple, I mean, I guess I know, but wouldn't it be great if on at least their iPads, they put like iPhone cameras on the front? Wouldn't that be dope?
Yeah.
To have like nice, juicy lenses and cameras and sensors on the front. So you could look at yourself and see, and get some really, really, really nice lens action.
I totally agree.
Obviously, that would create a big chin and all that kind of stuff.
I agree. I think the front-facing camera is a big missed opportunity. I mean, they are starting to build in some technology, and we're seeing it in the chat, like this whole center stage thing. Because they're 4K cameras, you can move around, and it'll essentially follow you. It creates a version of that. So that center stage thing is pretty interesting, and they just updated apps like Keynote and some of the other things that they're using. And I think there's going to be a lot of interesting technology having to do with piping live video and video feeds into other apps in the future. Because we live our lives, not everybody, but I mean, I live a big part of my life now on Zoom and Ecamm. And if we start to pipe features in from these video feeds in that let us do new things or things more easily, like center stage, that'll be interesting. You know, it'd be nice if in Ecamm, if I wanted to do a live stream, if they can integrate center stage into Ecamm, then I could move around the room and I wouldn't necessarily have to have some sort of device holding my camera following me around, as long as I was pushing it 1080 feet out. So that'd be kind of interesting. I don't know. There's some stuff going on for sure.
Bill says, Caleb, what mic are you using? This is the Audio Technica AT2020.
Have you done anything in the 2020?
$100. Say what?
Have you done anything on that mic on your channel? Like
not really.
About it?
No, not a review. But yeah, I mean, you really can't go wrong.
How about Curtis? Has Curtis done anything?
Or two with our Wish stuff.
Yeah, has Curtis
I don't think
done anything?
so, but it's a really popular like streamer gaming budget microphone. It's $100. It's amazing.
Well,
and I like the way it's designed. It's got a great mount, and you can do this number where it's angled up at you, and you can see my face instead of, that whole thing.
Yeah.
With our Wish thing for next week,
hopefully next week,
providing the rest of your stuff has turned up. Because I was thinking, because obviously we want to demonstrate the way that these products are working that we've bought, or not working, as the case may be. Because I was thinking, for my two, I would use them. I would use them within this realm. One's the microphone, and the other's the light. So we'd be able to use that within the show. But I was wondering, what format are we going to take for this? I mean, we were talking about producing something. Were you going to, because obviously you've got the cameras, were you going to go get some footage with that? Was that the plan?
Maybe. I mean, I can tell you,
I'll do something with mine.
I'm so excited about
in
the
room
images I
next
can
door
get
to me.
from my camera. I mean, just blowing me away. I'm waiting to like modify it to use it as a doorstop or something. We'll see what happens. Sky interviewed Samuel L. Jackson. I wanted to say the MFer word there because you kind of have to with Samuel Jackson, but that sounds cool.
Nice.
And he used an iPad with the front-facing camera, so there you go. Cool.
Crazy. What a beast, that guy.
Yeah, he is. Okay, so let's get some questions going in the chat. Just put an @the_C47 in there for that. I think we do need to, once we get confirmation from Caleb that he has everything, let's just plan for next week having a little bit of footage or something from the camera, if it's a camera you got. And then the other stuff we can just show. And it's, what did we get as opposed to what did we order? And did it meet or exceed or neither our expectations, and that's kind of the fun. But I have thoughts, but I'll reserve those for our episode next week.
Yeah.
And
I got three things. One, I have high-ish expectations. One, I've got mediocre, medium expectations. And one, I think, is what I just burned money. Literally set it on
low,
fire.
Very low. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I know which products you're talking about for each of those three categories.
Yeah. Now, if we want to just chat a little bit before we wait some questions to come into the chat. Colin has one. How did the Multicharger box for the wireless Goes turn out? Well, I don't know. I never ordered the one from New Shooter, from that company. Well, not from New Shooter, but I saw on New Shooter. Is there something else you're referring to, Colin? Go ahead, Ben.
I tried to find it. I was really struggled to get anywhere that would be able to ship it to me. So I think US probably, but I don't know, maybe UK, but here I just couldn't get it. I'd love it though, and I'd forgotten about it. So I might go have another look again now, see if someone's distributing it in Europe. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. So at the C47 for questions. What about another challenge, gentlemen? If we, obviously we're going to get through our wish thing, and if that's next week, I think we should set something up, whether that's a, dollar challenge or another frames challenge or something else. Does anybody in the chat have some ideas? We would not like it to be a Jem, Ben, and Caleb challenge. We'd like other people to be involved. And while we wholeheartedly expect David to be involved and 360 Grad potentially and a couple of other people, we'd like some new people to come in. The ones who keep saying they're going to be part of it, and then they don't. So, yeah. And
do
David,
another, just for Ben, we could do another, back in time B&H challenge. But only if he's going to be in the UK and has to come up with it on a phone, on a plane.
Yeah, exactly.
or
while
while driving in the car.
Yeah, while driving in the car.
Of all the things we've done, that back in time thing was by far and away the worst, awful, soul destroying thing to do. Yeah. Let's not do that again. Ever.
Okay.
Yeah. So we could do a frames challenge. I'm trying to come on, chat. We got to come up with something. There's got to be some kind of other challenge that we could do. What was the last one we did? eBay?
Yeah.
Yeah, eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did an eBay challenge.
I don't know, man. It'd be fun to do another one because I miss those. But I think that cow is about dry, and I can't think of anything fresh.
Future Tech says, Jem, I think your mic is picking up some low-end rumble. My sub is giving me some love over here. I just unplug your sub. That's all I gotta say. I don't know. I don't know why I have a rumble. Is it that? It might just be me tapping on the. I'll stay away from.
You need a microphone with a little low pass or low cut filter.
Low cut. Yeah, I don't have that. I'm sorry.
Too light interview challenge.
Okay.
Oh, Colin, you say you found it in the UK. Cool. I'm there in 2 weeks, so I'll see if I can pick one up then. That's the case thing again.
High pass, low cut. Same thing. Beautiful thing. Low pass, high cut. Why not a filming challenge? Making a small film that we can all do. I wouldn't mind. Time is usually the issue, and you got to give a pretty long runway for that. So I think that's part of it. I'd be interested if everybody else is hearing the rumble as well. Most people, I have two pretty big subs down here, but I only use them when I play music. So that's when they're being used. $500 Zoom lighting setup. There's so many options now.
One video we had talked, or one idea we had talked about a long time ago was kind of like, I don't know, modern video desk setups, or I don't know. Jem and I had on the phone talked about just little, like a list of like little things you have at your desk. It doesn't have to be a video setup or anything, but stuff you have on your desk that you use every day that you really dig. Could be hard drives, backup card readers, whatever.
Right.
Lamps, booze.
Yeah.
That's a
just
good
little
one.
stuff that you have at your workstation. You know,
I like that.
Your top 10 items or whatever.
I like that.
Yeah. Likewise.
That would be pretty straightforward to do.
Yep. Time. Most of us are still at home. Brick and mortar secondhand store challenge could be interesting. And B&H challenges are fun. Yeah, they can be. The desktop challenge. Yeah, I like that with a space. The desktop challenge. So that's what you were talking about, Caleb. And it's just the stuff that you reach for or use every day. It could be interesting because it's sort of, it's like, how do I do what I do every day at my desk? And it's very different than even a year and a half, 2 years ago. What I'm using, it literally used to be
of it with your phone, and then we can just zoom in and talk about it.
It actually used to be a laptop computer. and now there's 7 or 8 things that I'm using every day in order to do what I'm doing more, just because of the nature of it. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Or for a lot of us, like, the next question is which desk?
Yeah, exactly. And maybe show that too. Days. Yeah.
There you go. Like this desk, it's like tins of wood stain.
Perfect.
Which is different to the inside desk. So
Yeah. All right, let's bring this up again next week after our wish challenge. And I think we've been seeing this set of yours, Caleb, for quite a while. We've been kind of seeing this one here that I have here for a while. So it'd be good to see what's in front of us, and the same for you, Ben. Maybe upstairs, and you can show us some of the things that you're using. And it's just sort of what's our day-to-day, this kind of stuff challenge. Not necessarily how Caleb shoots videos, or Ben, how you shoot a project for a client, but more of what we're doing that's anchored to the desks. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. Your audio just went to nothing. You are at like half dB.
Sorry.
There you go.
It was muted. Somehow when I mute my microphone, it still comes through. So if anyone's ever heard me like cough or like nah, I apologize.
It barely comes through. Yeah.
I don't know why that is on this workstation. But yeah, maybe we start a new series called Show and Tell. So, we could just do like this one time could be, the desk setup, just stuff we use that are like normal working desk. Yeah. We could do a if we're setting up to film, just snap a photo, and we could talk about various setups we go with. Yep. Or just our camera settings could be kind of interesting. For instance, we each shoot on a completely different platform.
Yep.
I don't know, or camera, lens, tripod combo, audio combo, just stuff we actually use.
Yeah,
I like it. That
would be pretty low effort, but I would be very fascinated to see what you all use, including our chat, and maybe they'll actually do the challenge or join it, because it's
that'd be good.
Easy to knock out.
Yeah.
I've got an interesting one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Interesting one tomorrow, just in terms of that with setups. I'm filming out of a microlight tomorrow. Have either of you ever done this before?
Nope.
What's a microlight?
Now interesting. Do you call it a Rogolo?
I've never heard of either of those.
We have rugula here, but that's a pastry with different fillings.
No, so a microlight,
Eastern European pastry, rugula.
No,
Portuguese tart.
Portuguese tart and
what is this thing you speak of, Ben?
Yeah, what's it called? Tell us.
It's in English. It's called a microlight. So it's a small aircraft which looks like a tent on the top. So it's a kind of triangular wing with an engine on the back of it, and you sit tandem in the thing.
Yes, I've seen that.
So this project I'm involved with, there's some guy on the fringe of it who apparently has one of these things, and he said we should go up because we want to get stuff from a higher altitude than we can use a drone for. So that's exciting, because I used to do this sort of stuff all the time at helicopters, and since the advent of drones, I don't get to do it very much anymore. So that's tomorrow. So it's open air, so it's going to be cold, and I think gimbal is the way to go, but everything's going to need to be strapped and secured to me. But I'm worried about numb fingers or gloved stuff. So there's quite a lot to think about with it, a lot more than with heli stuff.
I'm looking up. Yeah, well, it'll be
ultralight. I grew up in Indiana, so there are tons of those over cornfields.
Right,
it's like a golf go-kart with wings.
Yeah, but with like a fabric wing that hangs over the top of it.
Yeah,
so the things
super deadly.
The things,
not to make you nervous.
I've been in one once before, but not filming out of. So it was, and I remember that I wore this thing. I was like a Michelin man. I had masses of padded, and that was in the middle of summer. That was like June, July, the last time I went up in one, and it's starting to cool down a little now. So I'm interested to see.
The fact that you had to dress that way in the middle of summer when you get into a vehicle, transportation vehicle, would make
It's in
me
the
think.
sky, Gem.
Yeah, it's a transportation vehicle. It's letting you get from one place to the other. I'm just telling you right now that
In the
whatever this
sky.
thing is in the sky, there's something wrong with this. I mean, I don't even want to get on a helicopter. So because from a physics standpoint, it's not even supposed to work. Let's be honest. I mean, the fact that helicopters actually fly is almost impossible. So
Right.
we're going to be
So-
thinking about you tomorrow.
Do you
This
have poor
this does
circulation, Ben?
do what? Sorry.
That's what.
Poor circulation, like in your fingers?
Oh,
Do I have it? No. Normally, I'm all right with the old circulation.
I have terrible
think
circulation.
so do
And this
I? Do
whole
too.
like being cold thing made me think I've been wanting to for years. It's such a plush purchase, but I want to get those gloves that have like a built-in rechargeable battery that are heated. Like there's actually like really thin wire sewn in with the glove where the fingers go.
So see, now that's an interesting thing. If you have those, and I've had experience with heated bits for motorbikes. So that bike behind me
Right.
once had heated grips on, and that isn't as good as you would imagine it to be, because what it does is it heats up your palms, and then the backs of your hands are still out in the airflow. So you just feel odd. It just feels horrible.
Sweaty hands. It's like
Well,
ventilated
yeah.
seats in cars these days.
Yeah.
All it
Yeah.
feels like, it hits you like a brick when it finally kicks in, and it
Yeah.
just feels like, here's your gentleman, and there's just like cold icy hand just slowly.
You're gentlemen.
It's haunting. I do not.
I've never
like it,
experienced
not one
this
bit.
at all. So this is
Ventilated
something that
seats?
so this it cools
No.
your seat.
What? It's a huge thing
What
in
are
the
you talking
U.S.
about?
Ventilated seats.
Yeah, we're not talking about
I've
heated
never heard of
seats.
it.
We're
It's-
talking
it's-
about AC.
It's
No, I
ventilated
get it.
seats
But
in the U.S. is cooled seats. They're not. It doesn't blow anything. It's just.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like
supposed to keep
it
the
just
boys-
kinda
it's supposed to keep the boys
slowly
comfy.
Wafts up cold air,
But it's not going to
Yeah,
keep
it's
the
supposed to
boys
keep-
comfortable.
but it's
Yeah.
haunting.
Yeah.
It does not feel right. Every time I turn
haunting.
around, I'm like,
Yeah.
It's like a really, it's like a really bad experimental independent film.
it's just like a
But
cold hand
cupping
just
your
slowly
balls.
comes up through your seat.
I don't know why we have a down thumb. Whatever it was that I said, all of a sudden this like thumb just came down in the comments and reactions. So I would love to know
Amazing.
who that was. I don't mind. I wouldn't disagree that we should have a thumbs down, but I would like to know who it was.
Jeff. So yes, get some motorcycle gloves. Piles of them on the shelf over there. The problem with those are they don't really facilitate operating a camera. This is the issue. So you can
I'm gonna look up
dress.
the stuff I
you
was
know, you
looking
can-
at. They were thin gloves.
See, that sounds ideal. Yeah. I'm still weirded out by this
Research-
cooled seats
research
thing.
here.
Linus Tech
Yeah.
made
Come
one.
to the
too.
U.S., rent yourself a top trim car,
Yep.
and hit the cold the little snowflake next to the chair icon, and
Yeah.
enjoy.
Yeah. It's AC for the boys. It's not good. It's bad.
Okay.
I guess
You're
it
not
might be
selling it.
good if you like get a vasectomy or something and you're driving home. It might be good for that, but I don't know. Thinsulate is the best brand for warm gloves. You can cut off the finger cups from the gloves. Fishing gloves with open fingers. I think chilled seats are great. There's a lot of stuff. All right, I feel like we were on a good roll for 2 weeks, and this particular episode is starting to like the train is off the rails right now. Let's get it back on the tracks, and let's start getting into some real conversations. So let me start with this question for you, Caleb. What have you seen recently, tech-wise, that still excites you? Is there anything beyond the Killjoy lenses that are getting you excited about some stuff?
Well, it's funny you should ask that, because I've been asked that now a couple times on my live streams.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it already, everyone should go watch Gerald Undone's most recent video. I don't know if you guys have yet, but I've been there feeling the same thing for about 4 or 5 years. where
Wow.
I'm just kind of like over it.
Yep. Yep.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna like just one day just vanish from the internet. I've told my wife, like, I do all kinds of different things, all kinds of different hobbies, various business ideas, but the like first and constant love is video,
Yep.
helping people figure that out. So, 11 years now, been doing this whole DSLR video shooter thing. Don't plan on stopping that. But in that video, he talked a lot about some stuff that I've, talked to my wife about for years and years, which is, you get to the point where you're like, I'm kind of over this or over the format. So not to take this like super serious and like make this a whole thing, but I don't know. I'm not like terribly excited about much. I think the whole cinematic mode and where that's going, what we've already talked about, I think 2 or 3 episodes ago, is very interesting.
Yep.
Most recently, what I'm looking forward to is when it comes to actual camera stuff, is what Sony will hopefully release soon, which is the Sony A7R or Sony A7 IV. I think that's going to be the camera,
Right.
25-ish, $100. Yeah, that's going to be the one. 10-bit, I think, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I'm excited for upcoming. Otherwise, there's nothing that's like, whoa. I feel like we've talked about on the show for a while, like we've kind of gotten to a certain level, like plateaued, and we're just waiting for that like next thing, right?
Yep.
Like autofocus is amazing. Most camera companies are giving us 10-bit. If I had an A7S with built-in ND, forget about it. That would be like the ultimate.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
yeah. I mean, as you know, I did a daily, whatever you call it, for over 3 years, and there's not a person out there who is creating content on YouTube that doesn't hit burnout at a certain point in time. It doesn't matter who they are; it's happened to every single one of them, and the daily ones are probably the worst. But I think by nature, the people who are successful because they stay to something that they're interested in, and there's an audience for that. But at a certain point, they're no longer fully invested and interested in that because they're kind of doing the same thing on a regular basis. So I think the burnout is definitely part of it. The finding something you can continue to do. I struggle with it tremendously. I am also, in a similar way to you, there was a recent episode on Film Riot's YouTube channel about, apps for your phone which map basically and track, and then that data can be brought in, and you can essentially do some of the stuff that people are doing with kind of like a LED volume type of thing, but on your phone. And it's not identical to that. You can have a background, you can pull a live key, it can map the space, and it can pull tracking data into the app. And then you can go into something like After Effects or something else later on, and you can bring the tracking data in there, and you can make a more complex comp and do things like that. So I think that kind of stuff, I think some of the stuff that Matt Workman's doing, I think that this virtual production kind of thing, what we're seeing on the stage with Mandalorian, people are starting to do in their living rooms, and really smart people who can figure all this stuff out, who also can get their heads around really deep things like Unreal Engine. They're going to be creating amazing things, that just blow our minds, beyond what we could ever imagine. We're going to be seeing things coming out of people's living rooms. There's a green screen shot of this woman like walking through a very small space, and she gets onto this elevator, and it's kind of this dystopian futuristic sci-fi thing that's been on social over the last 6 months. And you look at it and you're like, and then they show the behind the scenes and they show the footage, and you're like, it's amazing what people are doing in a 15 by 20 room and what can actually be pulled off. It's just getting so exciting in there. I just don't know if I have the focus to dive into it as much as I want to, but part of me really does want to start that's exciting. Taking all the knowledge we have of all the other bits and bobs and learning how to do that in a virtual way. Because I've always wanted to do it for education. I've wanted to say, okay, we're all going to jump into this giant street scene and let's figure out how to light it. Because you can't just take people to a giant street in the middle of New York. But you could in Cine Tracer, potentially. You know? So I don't know. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. What about you, Ben?
Yeah. I'm not really getting burnt out on my YouTube activities, I have to say. I think the amount of content that I put out, I've struck quite a good balance on the whole burnout content stuff. I mean, I did hit a point where I got to around my 43rd subscriber where I was starting to feel like it was getting a bit. No, I mean, but it goes. I think. I mean, I know that obviously there must be a degree of monotony to what you're doing in the way that you produce stuff that has that. I think I have that in terms of I'm in this cycle. The way that I'm working a lot now is that I go to the UK, which we're back into this now, when this post-COVID, well, not post-COVID, but you know what I mean. Things are sort of back to normal in a work pattern or getting there. But you go and you work very intensively for the time that I'm in the UK, which is great. So I'm enjoying that time and work. I like working very hard and being very sort of engrossed in what I'm doing, particularly in the production side of things. And I'm normally working with other people that I get on very well with, and I find that very exciting, inspiring. You know, I find that sort of mentally, that's when I'm probably, you know, sort of most satisfied work-wise. But all that time you always go, oh, I want to get home, because you're away from the kids then, and you get back here. And then kids and wife, everyone goes out, and I'm sitting at home on my own all day editing. And then this thing, you'd be wanting to get back. And then when you get back, you're finding yourself going stir crazy. And, you know, it feels like there's this constant cycle that there's always something that's not quite satisfactory with. And I still feel, you know, I'd like to be doing more stuff here, but then that's sort of difficult financially. So it's hard. And I still, and the other thing that I'm sort of noticing as well, I don't know if you've, not wanting to bring up your big birthday again, but I mean, I also noticed a bit with things as well, of thinking about, you know, how many working years have you got left? Like seriously, when you're doing a lot of the production stuff, and you are carrying a lot of heavy stuff around, and you're already starting to ache, and you're thinking, well, you know, even on a traditional, say you're looking at a 65-year retirement, which, I mean, there's just cloud cuckoo land for me, because I haven't been that financially clever to plan for that anyway. But there's got to be a point at which you're going to have to stop doing that kind of work, because you're just physically not going to be able to do it. And then what do you do? And at what point do you know, you were talking about when we took earlier on, and you were talking about the California sort of hipster filmmakers that you said, and you're going to realize at the point that you're so far removed from that because of your age. At what point is that going to affect your perception client-wise? Because that is what a lot of people are looking for. They are looking for that age group, of that demographic. And you go, well, you know, at what point are you the old man, the irrelevant old man, that no one's going to come to you for this stuff because of that? So that's a really depressing, and I was hoping there was going to be a nice little conclusion to that, where I figured that all out and it's all fine. But it kind of keeps me up at night a little bit.
And with 7 minutes left in the show, we get real up in here.
Up in here. Yeah, but I mean, look, these are all realities. They're not all, I think, as they seem. You know, I'm the age that I am. I don't feel that age, but I also know that I'm, in some ways, you have to find motivation, and there's a lot of things that I'm trying to figure out in terms of what my next steps are, especially when it relates to what I want to do in the educational space. That's a hard thing for me to figure out with the pandemic. I no longer travel I might be going to North Carolina in a couple of months to do some on-site training, which will be the first since before this whole thing started. But the reality is that, you know, my life has completely changed in the last year and a half. And I've been fortunate to have a client that has, you know, given me the opportunity to take all of these skills that I built on for all of these years and be able to build even new skills. You know, I'm a much more efficient person at what I do than I ever used to be. Meaning it doesn't take me as long to get the product that I need to get, and I have a much easier time estimating how long it's going to take. And so I can get a lot more done in a lot shorter period of time. And I don't feel personally, as somebody at that half century age, that I feel compelled to hire young or middle-aged or older people. I just try to find people who are really good and confident but easy to work with, and that's, to me, a big thing. Age doesn't factor in. I couldn't care less about their CV or their resume. It's mostly from recommendations and referrals. But, I would hire people who were 60 or hire people who were 20 if I felt like they could do what they need to do to contribute to whatever it is that we're doing.
I agree, and I think that is the my experience has been that is the way, and the age range of people that I work with is huge as well. I suppose it's more of that kind of paranoia of other people's perceptions of.
Yeah, don't have that.
No, but
yeah.
Well, I know don't, but it's easy. It's very easy to say don't. It's a much harder thing to get away from it, I think.
I think it depends on who your clients are. Because if you work for agencies and certain types of companies, then that's going to be a problem, because you're going to have an influx of young people. The fashion industry tends to be that way as well. You have these revered, older designers who are the gods, but a lot of the people who work for those companies are young designers, but they're under that umbrella. But the reality is that the advertising industry, the fashion industry, there's certain industries that are fed and sort of, they feed younger people into them and put those younger people into decision-making roles in terms of who they're going to hire. But I think if you talk about our circles are people who have been, passionate about and doing what they're doing in terms of content creation for a long time, that they couldn't give a rat's ass. They just want to find people who are good referrals, people who work hard, who learn once, and I think you just keep going down that road. You try. Because if you go into certain, like, I have zero interest going into the advertising industry. You can make a lot of money there, but I just don't want to deal with all of the egos and the politics and the backstabbing and the, people will throw people under the bus in the advertising industry every day of the week. And I just don't want to deal with that. So I don't know.
No.
Sorry.
Well, I think the bigger question is the whole aging thing, because that's real.
Oh, it is.
Like, I filmed 2 days ago, all day like this, nothing heavy, A7S with a lens, back out the next day.
Think about how we feel.
Like, that's like, damn. Well, I've got I'm not knocking on anyone else's problems, but at age 26, I had arthritis starting in my low back. I've got the worst back genes ever. It's gnarly.
Yeah.
Really, really bad. But, like, that's when you're like, okay, I'm 32. So, if you do the traditional, 59 and a half, that's the earliest you can retire in the United States. Like, there's a little bit of time until that point hits.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily a bad. It's just being aware of it, and I think that is working with other people and having those maybe younger people that you work with that are carrying that load a little bit, and giving yourself a break and trying to work around it now so that you don't get to that point too soon, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
And being really nice and having a great temperament, but also being confident in what you do know. I think that translates.
Right.
It's not an ego thing, but it's there. I was talking to my client today, and they had one concern about a vendor we're going to bring in, and they were like, the reason I'm leaning towards this other person is because, not that it's always a great thing, but the person is confident in their skills. They know what they're doing, and they have a confidence level, and that instills confidence on the hiring side of things too.
Yeah. I think that's true, and I think at the moment where I am, it benefits you that you've got a weight of sort of experience behind you, and you have that confidence in your abilities, and also that confidence in dealing with people and saying no to stuff as well, and standing your ground on things. I think becomes easier as you get older and build that confidence. So managing jobs, I think, becomes much easier on that front. So there's definitely benefits to it as well. I'm not saying it's all bad. Yeah. Just all these things you lie awake and think about at night.
And luck is part of it. And I don't mean that in a destiny way, but I mean, you go for 7 months and there's no work, and then all of a sudden somebody calls you up. But the luck part of it is the call. It's what you do with that call and the conversations and how many problems you can solve that can translate into the difference between you getting work and not getting work. Because ultimately, every single client has to get to a point when you're hiring somebody under you, you have to have a confidence level in the person you're hiring. There has to be some instinct there that says, I think that person is going to be a good fit for what we're doing. And you've got to go with your gut. And that's all that other people are doing. They're having conversations with people. And the more comfortable you are in your own skin and with your own abilities, I say you have a better chance of instilling confidence in other people in terms of what you can provide. All right.
You got this. You got skills. Take your vitamins and your supplements and start working on that IRA or 401k or whatever.
Yep.
And we'll be good.
Get your finances in order, which I've been working on, and take that vitamin D and get enough sleep. And I know I'm not a big person who hits the gym. Stretch, stand at your desk.
You need
move
to
around.
lift weights, just stretch.
Yeah. I love you guys. Here we are ending off. I've got my sister-in-law and her son coming over for dinner, so I'm going to make proper chips today in the double fryer, Ben. So I'm going to do that. Yes, they're gonna.
I gotta go watch the kids at ladies book club tonight.
Okay, well, you guys are awesome. Next week we hope for our wish challenge, and then we'll talk about our next desktop
wish for our wish
challenge. And then and with 360 grads last comment, we will end this off and see you all next week. All right, yeah.
See you guys then.
Yeah, keep it up.